Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Odong, for the release statement. May I now invite the chairperson of UNEB to officially come and present the results to the Honorable First Lady and Minister of Education.
The First Lady and Honorable Minister of Education and Sports, Mama Janet Museveni, on behalf of UNEB, it's my great pleasure to present the UCE results of 2022 to you for release to the country.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Okwakol, and thank you very much, Dr. Dan Odong, for the results 2023 UCE. Ladies and gentlemen, we all must agree here, we are all aware that we are recovering from many challenges associated with COVID-19. And this particular exam, it was conducted during a period when part of the country had issues, some districts of the country had issues. We also had some administrative issues internally there. But with the resilience of UNEB, all this were sorted out without a hitch. So we thank you, UNEB, and we hope that you'll continue doing a good job. Ladies and gentlemen, our Permanent Secretary, Madam Katie Lamaro, is in the house. You are welcome, Madam PS. And any other person that I was not able to recognize, I want to say now that you are welcome to this presentation. The cameras can move around as we wait for the minister to return. I am calling upon Honorable Minister of State for Hire, Honorable Muyingo, to be on alert. I'm going to request him to say a few words and also invite the minister to address the nation. Honorable Muyingo, this is just to alert you that in a few seconds I'll be calling upon you. I also want to thank my neighbor here who doesn't talk, but she's communicating a message to the country. Thank you so much. After all this, we shall have a photo session. And we shall have basically two photos. We shall have that great team from UNEB, led by their chairperson and the executive director, joined by our permanent secretary and the honorable members of parliament. They will have a photo session with the minister. Then after that one, we shall have a general photograph with all the officials who are here. So just prepare that at the end of all this, we shall call upon you for this photo session. Immediately after the photo session, we shall depart. Thank you so much. The examination term has started in our schools. We are also mindful that we are running out of time. Just last week we had this one selection. They are yet to report. Today we are concluding this release of UCE 2022. They will also soon report. I know it is stressful to the parents, but we shall try to space the candidates appropriately. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me now invite Honorable Minister of State for Higher Education, Honorable Jesse Muyingo, to make a statement, a short statement, but also invite the First Lady and Minister of Education to give her address to the nation. Honorable Muyingo.
Thank you very much, MC. Our dear chief guest, Mama, the First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports, my sister, the Honorable Minister of State for Education, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Education and Sports, the Chairperson and members of the UNEP Board, of the Executive Director of UNEP, staff, ladies and gentlemen, my dear colleagues, the Honorable Members of Parliament, apologies. Ladies and gentlemen, Mama, my duty this morning is very simple, to invite you and address the country. But allow me to make only two statements. One, Mama, I want to, on behalf of all my colleagues, to welcome you very warmly to this function. And thank you for inviting and hosting us in State House, Mama. Mama, we don't want to take this for granted. We know how busy you are, but your presence, personal presence here today, when we are releasing the Senior 4 results, confirms the great support and interest you have in what we do. Mama, I want to thank you. Mama, these exams were conducted during the time when Uganda was being terrorized by COVID and Ebola. This period was a very difficult period. There were very many fears, many uncertainties, but Mama, we want to thank you for the support, the care, and the guidance you provided during that time. Mama, we thank you for that great leadership. Is that enough, people? Mama has always been there for us, and we are really very grateful. Mama, the second point, and this is going to be the last one. Reports from the field indicate that some of our head teachers have completely switched off communication with the public. Their phones are off, others are not even in the school, running away from those pressures associated with the people who are seeking placement in their schools. I feel this is very dangerous. And I want to pray that our head teachers do not run away from work that requires their presence at school. Sit down, listen to what the parents are saying, explain to them. After all, you have our support. Mama, the second thing that comes from the field is that quite a number of Ugandans who are of school-going age have not yet reported back to school for this academic term. This is equally dangerous. And I want to appeal to the parents, to the leadership, local LOC 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, councillors, members of parliament, to join our efforts to mobilize all our children of school-going age to go back to school as soon as yesterday. Mama, with those few comments, I want to invite you to address the country. Thank you, Mama.
Thank you, Honorable Mingo. My colleagues, Ministers of State for Education, Honorable Members of Parliament present here this afternoon, the PS for the Ministry of Education and your team, the Chairperson of UNEB, the Executive Secretary of UNEB and your team, the media fraternity, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to you all. And let me begin my remarks, as always, by thanking God for his faithfulness in taking our children through a very difficult time of the COVID-19 pandemic and Ebola outbreak. And he enabled them to sit for their Uganda Certificate of Education examination and to conclude without any tragic incidents or fatalities reported. Therefore, we do have every reason to celebrate this release of results, indeed just like that of the PLE 2022, and to testify that in spite of the challenges, God is still with us and he's still doing great things for us. Secondly, we have even greater reasons to celebrate these results and to report to the country that the candidature, as you heard from UNEB, the candidature which had declined in 2020 has now picked up and actually surpassed the previous numbers by a more significant proportion of 4.8%. This is indeed an indication that with God's blessing, we have largely overcome the problem of having closed schools for close to two years and the other effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, in 2019, as you heard Mr. Odongo say, we celebrated the increase in the number of girls registering for the UCE examination, which had always been lower than that of the boys. At the time, we noted that not only had the number of girls completing PLE caught up with the number of boys, but also the number of girls was significantly higher than that of the boys. Unfortunately, however, in 2022, this positive trend appears to have reversed in favor of the boys once again. The nation, therefore, must be concerned that over 30,000 girls do not transition to complete the next level after PLE. Consequently, we at the Ministry of Education and Sports consider this a matter of great concern, and we find it necessary to provide an explanation to the nation regarding this challenge that affects the education and development of the girl child. I have therefore instructed the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Education and Sports to conduct a study in this area that we may understand the issues at hand and authoritatively inform the nation. Now, once more, I regrettably note that the cases of absenteeism that have been decreasing have now increased again by 0.3%, meaning some 560 candidates over that of 2020, as I noted during the release of PLE 2022 results. This is of great concern to the ministry and therefore must be of concern to all the stakeholders. This is especially so since these young people are in school for all the 4 years. They then register for examinations of their education. So again, we must find answers to these questions, and we will through subsequent performance. Similarly, the ministry notes that this year the overall performance in the science subjects that are compulsory is not yet satisfactory, although there is some improvement. Government is committed to promoting the teaching and learning of science subjects, as you know. The Ministry of Education and Sports will look into this matter and, where necessary, re-examine our policies to address areas of concern in this regard. Now, on a happier note though, as the chairperson of UNEB reported earlier, the government learned about the impact of COVID-19 on the teaching learning time and devised an abridged curriculum. This meant that the National Curriculum Development Center had to review the content and remove duplication in subjects that tended to lengthen the curriculum and the completion time. This exercise was accomplished at the right time. Therefore, it pleases me to hear that this did not have any negative effect on the core skills and competencies that learners require to advance to the next level. It is also noteworthy that UNEB examined the Chinese language for the first time, along with other foreign languages, as you have already heard. This is a welcome development. The knowledge of Chinese is vital for us, given the ever-increasing levels of engagements between Uganda and China in the various fields: educational, cultural, technological, and commerce. This is also why, as a country, we must ensure that our people can communicate in these major languages such as French, German, Arabic, and even Swahili at the East African level. These efforts strengthen our competitiveness